What's good, y'all? We are back for episode 3, and in this week's video, I want to really touch on how I prepare for my training, specifically in strength training and also in running, and just give you some behind-the-scenes details of how I stay organized within my training routines and my training structures and training breakdowns. So that's going to be the bulk of today's video. We're also going to touch on how I prepare with nutrition. I'm also going to go through a warm-up for runners so that you can be ready for your runs, whether you're running weekly or daily or whenever you go out for a run, just so you can be prepared. And then I also want to go through the essential way to recover. So a lot of good topics to discuss in this video. Want to have a good one, and this really builds and flows from last week's video where I touched on my actual training routine. And so when it comes to preparing for my training, so my training pretty much is broken down in 4-month cycles, and I do 4 weeks of the same routine. The runs will pretty much change, my reps and everything will change throughout the week of my strength training. However, I pretty much keep everything just in my notes. I organize it that week before the new week is about to start up, where I'll pretty much put together the new program in that next week or in that next phase, and then it's pretty much how I'll go. I have it organized, and then each week I'm tracking my weights, tracking my progressive overload, and then with my runs I'm tracking my heart rates. I'm also going through or tracking my RPE, or rate of perceived exertion, and also try to keep note of just how I'm feeling or anything that may have changed during the week within that run. And also will track my runs on Strava as well, and I'll fill in some notes on there. So that's pretty much how I'm keeping, physical tracking of my workouts. And then when it comes to actually putting them together, I try to just focus on, if we're doing upper body, for example, always having my pull movements, always having my rows. And for legs, always going to be hinge, always going to be squats. So really for the functional style training, it's going to be more, or strength training is going to be centered around movements that the body is going to naturally make. And then for my running, it's pretty much right now coming from the science of running, and I'm really prioritizing more easy training. However, that strength training is really the foundation. That's where I build strength. I do like to maintain a certain physique, so that's where I'm also building muscle. And then in terms of for running, to my strength training to help out with running, I really prioritize stability, balance, coordination, and really joint strength and joint support, also supporting my ligaments, just to reduce injury risk. You want to keep those low the best that you can. I went through some injuries last year, as I've discussed in previous videos. However, my training is really built around enhancing my running performance while also making sure that I maintain a healthy body composition and the physique that I'm looking to maintain. So that's pretty much organizing my training. And then when it comes to nutrition, I kind of run a kitchen in my home. I feel like I'm, weekly going to the grocery store. I do eat a plant-based vegan diet, so I'm always getting more so fresh food. So pretty much running to the store pretty much whenever I run out. So I'll eat the same thing every day. I did a video of what I eat in a day. I do pretty much eat the same thing every single day. I know some people say it can get boring. However, I've learned that it keeps, things consistent. It's also sustainable from a financial standpoint, and it allows me to, hit my macros. I'll change things up every now and then, or I may go out to eat. I also, last week, went to PS & Co, Pure Sweets and Company. I got some added meal prep items, a chickpea salad. And then I also got some moringa or healing broth just to go with my meals, and it was really good. Gave me a nice switch up, added some variety. However, nutrition is a key pillar for athletic performance. Fueling up properly, eating the right foods, keeping inflammation to a minimum really makes a big difference. If you have a lot of inflammation, that's going to impact the health of your arteries, and that's going to impact the blood flow, when you're exercising, and even just on a daily basis. However, we're specifically focusing on exercise. Your blood is delivering oxygen, is delivering nutrients to your muscles, and that's going to help with energy. That's going to help with, cycling lactate through, and you can also use lactate for energy. So you're pretty much your muscles are going to put that lactate into the bloodstream. It's going to be taken back to the heart. It's going to be able to be cycled for energy use. So having a healthy, arterial and vein system is going to be very crucial to your overall performance. However, if you're eating a lot of inflammatory foods, a lot of fast food, a lot of processed, refined sugars, carbohydrates, whatever case you want to look at, you're going to be slowed down a bit, and in your training, your endurance is going to be impacted by that in a negative way. However, if you're eating fresh foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, actual whole grains, healthy, complex carbohydrates, you're going to be fueling with the right, nutrients. Not saying you have to be vegan, however, you do want to prioritize quality protein, healthy fats, and that's going to play a big role in your energy levels. It's also going to play a role in how you're recovering. You get a lot of antioxidants from fruits and vegetables, and that's going to help clear out any inflammation and any stress that's going to result from training. So you want to make sure that you're maintaining a proper lifestyle with your eating habits, and it's going to be key. It's really been paying off for me. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen within my endurance. Even when I was back at Penn State, I started running recreationally. And my first year or two when I wasn't vegan, I would try to run. My endurance was shot. I didn't really train for it either, but when I tried to run, I couldn't really do it well. However, by my third year, when I started to transition to being vegetarian, then I went fully vegan, my endurance skyrocketed. And I do think having just a cleaner overall diet really helped overall with my endurance levels, and I started to feel really good. So I've been keeping that up all the way to today. That was 2018, fall 2018 when I went plant-based vegan, and I've been keeping it up all the way up until now in 2026, and I've seen a lot of great benefits. But that'll be all right. So we touched on the first two ways that I like to prepare. Number one being just staying organized and really structuring my workout routines and my notes, and then number two with nutrition and making sure I'm properly fueled up for my training, and also to help with the recovery process. Now the third point that I want to go over in this video is how to properly warm up for your runs. A lot of times we may just lace up the shoes, go out and just start running without a proper warm up. When we do that, we increase our risk of developing injuries, and we also increase the risk of, overstressing our nervous system and our, just overall organs. So to properly warm up, I like to personally, start with some muscle activation within my apartment. I'll go through a nice activation. What this does, it gets those muscles going, it gets some blood flow, to my muscles, and it's also helping out with my range of motion. And then as I shift to going more outside, you can do a 10-minute or maybe a little longer depending on the length of the run, but at least 10 minutes of just some very easy pace running, heart rate staying below 130 beats per minute. And then I really want to gradually and sustainably allow my heart rate to increase. So that's going to make sure that blood is flowing properly. It's not going to be so taxing on my nervous system and organs, and I'll just have better running economy and better form when I'm actually getting into my workout. So that's pretty much the warm-up process there, and it's very beneficial. Like I said, you can really avoid that injury risk thing. If you're going out and you just run out and you're not properly warmed up, especially if it's a cold day or even if it's a hot day, your body may just have some shock, especially if you're just getting up in the morning. So gradually allow your body to acclimate to the activity that you're about to do, and that's going to also help with being able to perform your best, whether if you're going into a race or you're just going into your training session for that day. Okay, so now that we're getting into the warm-up portion of today's video, we're going to go into a quick activation before getting into our dynamic movements that will come after your 10 minutes of easy running. So we're going to start up with some hip lifts. I'm very big on activating the hamstrings and glutes. These muscles are essential for propulsion and really helping us push and drive forward, whether you're looking to increase pace or just looking to maintain a steady pace. Your hamstring glutes are going to be key muscles to have activated and to be strong. So you're just going to lift up, push through the heels, lower back stays flat. You're going to squeeze your hamstring glutes, core is braced, and lower them back down. It's pretty much here. You can go arms by the sides. You're going to lift up, push through the heels, squeeze and hold, back down. And then I'll do one more push up, squeeze and hold, back down. You'll do about one set of 8 to 10 of those. Next up, we're going to warm up with the hip flexors. Hip flexors are an essential movement or essential muscle for just stabilizing the knee. So you're going to press right onto one knee. You should feel a big activation in your hip flexor, your core, and you also want to help to stabilize the psoas muscle. So pressing with both hands, resist that tension. You're going to take a big exhale as you extend out. You're going to come back in, nice and controlled. Extend back out. Come back in, and you'll do about a set of those 8 per side. Next up, we're going to go into a dead bug, activate the core a little more. You're going to lift your shoulder blades up. Knees are a little bit right over the knees or a little bit close to your stomach. Arms drive up. You're going to take a big exhale. Just same movement, just more emphasis on the core now, nice and slow. We're going to come back in and then switch over to the other side. The core is essential. Helps to stabilize the lower back. Also helps to balance when you're running and just being more stable and efficient. We'll do about one set of 8 of those per side. Next up, we're going to shift into a cat-cow. Like just create some mobility and range of motion along the spine, just to avoid any tightness when we're out there on the road or a treadmill. So hands will start under the shoulders, knees under your hips. You're going to arch, look up, squeeze your shoulder blades, exhale, look towards the belly button, tuck your hips. It's going opposite direction. Again, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Just getting full range of motion from the neck all the way to the base of your spine or tailbone. From here, we're going to shift into a Spider-Man stretch. My shoulders both ways so you can really get the form down. But you're going to start in a plank. You're going to step one foot outside of the hand. I'll show an alternative. This is a little too challenging for this range of motion. So you're going to one hand on the shoelace. You're going to go elbows pressing the knee out. Come back in. Pressing back out. And then back in. So if I do that from the front, you can see that a little better. Here. Back knees down, nice and tall at the chest. You're not rounding your back. Drive the knee out. Bring it back in. Drive back out and back in. We'll do one set of 8 of those per side. That's a little too challenging. You can go here. Knees are a little wider than the hips. Hands are right under the shoulders. Kick one foot to the side. Chest nice and tall. You just want to rock back and stretch out the inner thigh here. Coming up, rocking back. So just looking to loosen up the adductor muscles a little bit. I like the Spider-Man one a little better because you activate the muscle. But if that one's a little challenging, you can go with that one there. Or if you want to just skip it, feel free. But definitely that Spider-Man stretch, it's a great one for activating those adductor muscles. The adductor muscles are another one that's crucial for helping to stabilize the knee and also assisting with balance. All right, our next movement that we're going to go into is a bird dog. So hands under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. You're going to slightly tuck your pelvis. You want to avoid arching your lower back with this movement. You're going to go opposite hand, opposite foot. As you extend, make a tight fist, push into the ground with that grounded hand and knee. You're going to take a big exhale, extend out. Hold for about 2 to 3 seconds. Come back in nice and smooth and controlled. And then pressing back out. And then coming back in. We'll do about 8 of those per side. I'll do the opposite side just so you can see. So again here, nice and smooth and controlled. Extend out. We'll come back in. Back out. And then coming back in. And then one last movement that we're going to do is a static split squat hold. Just to help activate the quads a little more and help, again, just stabilizing the knee and also getting some engagement within the hamstrings and glutes and hips. So we're going to go, and that bird dog, one last thing on the bird dog, it's going to help to support the lower back and just add more stability and more endurance for the lower back. So back to our split squat hold. Your front knee is going to be over your heel, back knee is going to be under your hip. You can hold on to a wall if you need to for a little support. But ideally, you want to be able to do this without any support. So you're going to press up primarily through the front heel and just hold here. I'm just going to hold. You're going to do one side each for about 20 seconds. And just holding that there. And the last thing that we'll do for activation, just some simple calf raises just to get the calves, the Achilles, and the ankles and the plantar fascia a little bit more warmed up. If you would like to, learn more movements that you can do for your plantar fascia ankles, I do have a video that's on sale that you can purchase. I'll put the link in the description below. You can purchase that digital download if you want a little more guidance there. But for the calf raise, it's pretty simple. Just feet about hip width apart. You want to stand nice and tall, brace your core, and just driving up, push into the balls of your feet, squeeze your calves, and then come back down controlled. Again, driving up, squeeze and hold for about 1 to 2 seconds, and then back down. You can do about 10 to 12 or even 15 reps of the calf raises there, just one set, or if you want to run through everything 2 sets, that's perfectly fine as well. But just that first portion, just to get your muscles really activated and ready to go for your run. All right, so you did your activation, you did your warm-up of easy running, and now we're going to get into some running drills to help out with your overall form and technique and also reduce risk of injury. So we're going to start off with some pogos, and then we're going to progress into a couple of more movements. So for the pogos, you're going to be about feet are hip width apart, and you're just going to bounce on the toes, keeping the legs relatively straight. And what these are going to do is just help with that propulsion. It's going to help to, build some more stiffness in the Achilles. And the Achilles pretty much stores up energy to just help us continue running and running faster. So pretty much that pogos are just going to further prepare our body for that running mood, for the running when we're out there on the road. Next up, we're going to go into some ace skips. So let's start a little further back for this one and be traveling towards the camera. But it's pretty much taking that same bouncing rhythm. You're just going to drive one knee up, just alternating as you go. You can go about 10 to 15 yards. Show the reverse version so you can see. Cool. So pretty much again, 10 to 15 yards. Next up, we're going to go into some B skips. So just getting a little bit more range of motion within the hips. Same movement, just kicking the foot out. And I'll show this one from the side so you can see it. We'll just be here. And again, still traveling forward, but just getting a nice kick as you go. Next up, you're going to some C skips. And these are excellent for just improving your overall cadence and foot speed, having less traction with the ground with your feet, but it's nice and tall, driving the heels up to your butt. So again, here, you just really want to be quick with the feet as you're going through that there. And then last up, we're just going to go through some high knees. Just again, working on knee drive with the movement. Nice and tall. So pretty much there you go. Nice warm up. You see, pretty much getting warmed up myself. So you go through your activation, you go through your easy running for 10 minutes, and then you'll go through your running drills. All right, so you got organized, you're eating the right foods, and you're also, properly warming up for your training and having an awesome, training session or race. Now it's time to cool down and recover. Now, when you're getting into your cool down, you pretty much will go in reverse of what you just did for your activity. So you can do some easy light jogging or maybe some walking just to bring your heart rate down in a sustainable manner. And then from there, you can do some light movements. That could be some just body weight squats or lateral squats or some lunges or just some really light activity or some mobility drills. Just continue to bring the heart rate down, calm the muscles and calm the nervous system down to avoid any injury risk or stiffness within the muscles. And then from there, you'll be pretty much good to go for the rest of your day, or maybe you're training in the evening for the rest of the night. And now I want to get to one of the biggest improvement areas, which for me has been sleep. It's still something I feel like I can get a little bit better in, just getting more hours and more time. My schedule does play a big role, and just sometimes the hours of sleep that I can get. However, sleep is where pretty much we're going to build muscle. So if you're looking to build muscle and get stronger, you want to make sure you're prioritizing sleep and rest. However, in terms of recovery, your muscles and your body is just, recouping from the day, recouping from the stress, and you're repairing, you're getting some regenerative tissue work. So make sure you're getting that quality of sleep. And also between the hours of 10 p.m. and about 2 a.m., we're in our restorative sleep period. And that's where our body is going to detoxify. Our body is really going to, calm us down. It's going to repair and recover. And then it also is going to help with, lowering stress and cortisol, just getting proper sleep. But definitely that restorative sleep is going to be key. You'll wake up the next day much more clear-headed, less brain fog. And when you have that brain fog, it can be hard to, make wise decisions. That can be in nutrition or even maybe just in your day-to-day lifestyle. However, for training, if you're not getting enough rest, you're pretty much getting into an overtraining state, and your injury risk is going to greatly increase. So we want to make sure that we're sleeping. We want to make sure that we're cooling down. We want to make sure that we're being intentional with each aspect of our athletic lifestyle. So pretty much you're getting organized, you're eating the right foods, you're properly warming up, you're having an awesome training session or race, and then you're not skipping the cool down. You're not just, stopping your activity, going to sit down or going to lay on the couch or going to watch some TV. And even if you have to go to a next task, maybe you got to work out, shower, change, get to work, maybe just take a couple minutes just to do a little bit of walking, just gradual movements, and just calm your nervous system down a little bit before moving on to your next task within your day. However, that's going to be this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been loving creating and putting together this series and really just showcasing my journey while also educating you. I hope you're taking a lot of notes, applying what you're learning into your own routine and your own healthy, plant-based or healthy lifestyle that you're liking to live. and you're just enjoying it. So continue to follow along this road. We have episode 4 coming up next week, and then we're just going to be continuing to grow along the way. But thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe, drop a comment, share with a friend, and I will check y'all on the next one. Peace and love.